What happened there?
I don't know. Hi, everybody. I am Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa. And today we're going to be painting another calorie-free, diabetic-friendly dessert for your wall that you can enjoy. I'm really excited about this cherry cupcake because it's really delicious looking, and I'm going to get a lot of the joy that I get out of desserts, but without any of the negative payback sometimes that eating an excessive amount of sugar will give to me. So I think it's really fun, and I think even if we're embracing healthy life choices, it's okay to still embrace the confectionery arts. So I'm going to be showing you how to paint this today in acrylic, step by step, every step of the way, live streaming. And to that end, I've got to introduce you to John. Say hi, John.
Hi, guys.
He is going to be here making sure that he reads your comments and switches the cameras so that you can see every step of the action as we paint along. I'm wondering who's ready.
Everybody is ready. Oh my gosh, we have so many ready. 433 people, and they're just piling in there. 440 people, 445 people, 450 people. We have so many peoples, and they're all here just ready to do cupcakes. Cupcakes.
So yesterday we did a donut, and I'm designing this so that the donut and the cupcake go together, because it's always nice to have a pair somewhere in your house. This probably would go in your kitchen. It's a really nice painting that you can give as a gift. I think it's good for card making and multimedia. So I think this is going to work in a lot of areas for a lot of people. But the donut and the cupcake are designed to go together. Let's go over and see what our materials are.
Okay.
So today I have a 9x12 canvas board. This is a board that's prepared for acrylic painting. You don't need to do another thing to it. They're very economical and they store well. It's not worse or better than canvas. It's just a different option that you have as an artist. On this, I have some wishes because we like to put those in the universe. We have a wish for Teresa, health for her and her baby, and really good results on upcoming tests. We also have a wish for safety for kids around the world. We're wishing that as a species, that we embrace that all of our children, wherever they live, are precious and valuable, and we're committed together to make sure that they're protected and safe. And then also, and this has really been coming up a lot, and it has been true the whole time that I've been teaching on YouTube. There's just a lot of wishes for a cure and education around Lyme disease.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is ecologically bad, but is it okay if I wish that all ticks were gone?
Yeah.
I don't know if we need ticks in some, like, you know how sometimes, like, it's cute, it's easy to protect a bunny, but sometimes it's hard to protect something like a tick. So,
like mosquitoes, are they really needed?
yeah, if it's not needed, if it's not important for the ecology, like, rather than wipe out the puffin, I'd like to just sort of take out the tick.
Yeah.
Take out the tick. So that's my wish. Let's look at our acrylic painting. Now, if you check the description below, there's a link to the traceable. And today I'm going to demo that technique because you guys have been asking me, how do I get this on canvas? Every once in a while, I try to show this so that you guys, if you're brand new to the channel, you see this process. You check the link below. There'll be a link to the traceable. You print that out. You can size it up or down for the canvas that you're using. Remember, because that's possible. And all the materials we're going to be using through the whole project. But let's look at what we need first. So over here I have a phthalo green, phthalo blue, titanium white, a diamond head palette knife to mix things together, and a damp but not wet kitchen sponge. This is what you start with. I'm going to take out 1 part of blue and 1 part green, and I'm going to mix those together. All right, mix them nice together, and this is going to help it go with yesterday's background.
I may have to come. I'm going to come adjust the camera. I think.
Okay.
I put it over there.
Where? What? Okay.
I'll come move. You're okay.
Okay. I have no more room.
I have magic.
I literally am out of scooch room. You've scooched me out of the room. I have been scooching for John's picture. I'm not really sure what's happening because it's in a virtual world, so it totally confuses me.
I can do that.
There must be micro tremors or something in Houston because I swear it's like I'll scoot and scoot and scoot and scoot and scoot, and it's like, how am I still having issues? So I'm taking that mixture over to my white, and I'm going to mix that into that to get a nice aqua. You did this with me yesterday. You're very familiar. Now I'm going to just paint this all in, right? Super, super easy peasy.
Gonna be
I'm doing kind of a uniform mix here. So in painting, you mix things totally together, incorporated, or sometimes you do a thing called loosely mixed, which means that the paint is sort of incorporated loosely or folded onto a brush or tool and then mixes on the canvas as you paint. All right, I'm gonna wipe this off. I'm gonna get me a nice big brush to paint this in on my background. This is a number 30 bright, but you're looking for a brush that's an inch, couple inches wide, has a nice synthetic filament. This has a good spring. I'm gonna dip this in water and drag off the extra because I don't need it soaked, but I do need to add a little water to this. So I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna go dip just the end of the filaments, and I'm going to thin this a bit so that it flows off my brush onto the canvas. There we go. And I'm just going to paint my wishes into the universe. Now, if you're painting the donut and the cupcake that match, be sure that you try to match this aqua background as much as you can, as close in color, or paint them at the same time. That way you're doing it from one batch.
Now,
if you have a little trouble with color matching, and that's okay if it takes you a little while to get that.
Susan says, girl, you have got to tell me what your lipstick you're wearing.
I am wearing, it's Kat Von D's new Glimmer Sticks. Isn't that what it is? It's over by my desk, John. I forgot to put it out today.
Did you?
Yeah, it's a really long-lasting one, so I forgot to grab the lipstick. But it's by Kat Von D. I found it in Sephora, and it comes in like 12 crazy cool colors. And I have to say, I like it. And even better, my daughter doesn't hate it, which is like this one here. Yeah, so it's the Everlasting Glimmer Veil by Kat Von D. And this one is the bright blue color.
Bright blue, okay.
They have a whole bunch of blues and a whole bunch of pinks, and you should just really just go put them all in your hand and just have a blast. Doesn't hurt, doesn't burn. I really like it. I don't sell makeup. I'm not a makeup expert, and it isn't sponsored. It's just what's on my face today.
You need to
I gotta dry my canvas.
Okay.
But dry my canvas, guys.
All right. So while she's drying that, I'm gonna say, you guys, thanks for coming and hanging out with us today. It's so nice to look over and see all of our friends hanging out. Hi, guys. If you're looking for information on today's painting, you can find it in the link in the description below. There'll be a link to our website, and on that website, what you're going to find is things like the reference photo. Like, where'd it go? That button brings a reference photo. You'll have that up on our website. You'll have the traceable up on our website. There'll be a list of all the materials there that she's got out. Those will be up there. And then, of course, there's going to be a link. There'll be links to other projects. Oh, like the donut project that we did yesterday, and all of our other cool stuff like Big Art Quest and other seasonal events. So check that out, and don't forget to share up your paintings. We love to see those. It's one of the cool things. Just looking up to make sure that we're not buffering. Looks like we have a good signal coming out here. So, hey, you're back.
I'm back from outer space.
Yep, you are.
I have more coffee because I need it today.
I was just checking over here. Looks like our stream's doing pretty good today. We have a nice, good strong signal up to YouTubery.
That's always nice. I'm going to just remist my sponge because it dried out a little bit in the lights. I don't want it to be, I don't want to be able to squeeze any water out of it. It just needs to be damp. It's a regular kitchen sponge. I'm going to load up by very carefully just putting paint on the edge here.
I'll give you a little bit more. You can see a little bit more.
Okay. All right, so here we go. You can see that there. It's okay to pick up some of the original background colors so you get a nice blend. This is sort of the darker grain effect. And the trick's going to be not to press in too hard. You're really just lightly coming across the canvas, letting this streak. See how we're doing? You're just letting it streak. And that's the basis of your wood if you need to flip to get a nice bit. You're just going back and forth. If you go off your horizontal, you can just blend. See how I can blend back and forth. Now I can go right into, if I want to create kind of like a wood highlight or aging, I get into my white, as you can see. And then I can come right over the top, again, adding this little whitewashing effect. And that's how I can get this sort of wood background that I'm going to be using. It's stuck. It's sticking. And that's okay. I'm just trying to weather it. So if you're wondering why exactly this background, check the donut painting, and then you're gonna be like, oh, they match. They're so cute. They totally go together, and I want to hang them in my house. You know, you can always pull this in if you just need to lighten it up and get that original color back. So just know that you've got a lot of chances to like adjust, and it does really well as you build up the layers.
Yeah, the more layers you add, I mean, it really just adds a complexity to it.
Yeah, and you can even, interestingly enough, make weird little adjustments by switching the direction of the sponge and kind of playing with the wood here, as you can see I'm doing, right? See that?
Mm-hmm.
So realize these sponges are actually some pretty cool tools. I've done entire paintings. If this is fun for you, we have done several paintings where we use not a single brush. And you're like, but you have brushes that you sell everywhere. And I'm like, it's true, we do. Yeah. But the magic is in you. And that's always a good reminder. I'm going to put this in water so it doesn't get dried out. And I'm going to paint in kind of like where I'm going to be sitting my cupcake. To do that, it's going to be good for me to dry it so I can kind of chalk that in with a T-square so my line is level.
Yep. So, yeah, a lot of reasons why she makes sure, and when you guys are drying these at home, make sure that you keep your hair dryer on the lowest heat setting, because you're just wanting to use the air to get that dry layer so that when you come along afterwards and you're painting with another color, you don't pick up the current color.
Woohoo!
Just trying to explain that you want to dry it so you aren't picking up the next color.
Yeah, we've got a couple times that we've got to give this a dry, or we're not going to enjoy our result. Now I'm going to come up just a few inches because I got to sit the cupcake on something, right?
It can't be a levitating cupcake?
It's not going to be a levitating cupcake today. We don't need a deep table for this little still life. And this is technically a still life, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess so. They're not running cherries.
Right. They're not running, floating, elevated cherries. So I'm going to get my brush wet and I'm going to grab my white. And see how this paint is still there so I can pull it in and make a very light version of the color? Because my table is quite light. And I'm going to paint everything below this line, this light color, and that's my table. That's also going to make a nice shadow under my cherries pop. This technique that I'm showing you will work with any colors. So you can actually consider this a background that you could use on a lot of paintings.
Mm-hmm. You could use this on, say, a donut.
Mm-hmm. Or a vase. You know, teacup, a book. So, you know, this is how you might get that background table effect, right?
I do like how it comes out, though. It's very easy and predictable to do.
It's very easy and predictable to do, and it works in a variety of colors.
Yeah,
And I'm just making sure I have a nice crisp edge here.
And that technique it lends itself very much to the medium.
Yeah. Yeah, acrylic loves this. And hopefully you guys do too. Now, if you're happy,
They all seem to be having a pretty good time.
I love it when you guys are having a good time. That's like, this is when we're really winning, is when you guys are having fun and you love your paintings and we're doing something different and you're like, oh, good, it's not the same old, which we rarely actually have the same old here. Now, I'm going to dry this so that I can put my traceable and my transfer paper.
Okay. And again, when you're drying that at home, just make sure that you're using the lightest heat setting just to have air go over there, because you don't want to induce any color shift or any other issues that you may have from higher heat, which generally isn't a problem on your pro paints. But sometimes on student paints, you find that you can introduce a little color shift and things like that. And that's color shift is where the paint darkens as it dries, and that's made worse by heat. So, and many of your high quality paints, your pro paints, they're not going to have that color shift. They're not going to have that problem. But you just want to be careful. Heat's not what helps the paint dry anyway. It's just the air.
All right. So now I'm going to show you something called Sero paper, which is in the description below. There's a link to that. You could also rub a pencil Like this is the traceable that I've made, and I make a photocopy of that for you guys so that you can have that. We put that up on our website. So you figure out where your placement is, right? Where you want it to be. If you don't have Cero paper, you can take a pencil and just rub it all on the back here like this till you've colored that all in, and then do the exact same thing I'm about to do, and that will work. I'm out of painter's tape. For you guys that know me really well, that's what happened.
Oh, noes.
So I made some with some Scotch tape by sticking it to my pants again and again and again and again and again and again and getting a lot of lint on it. So if you don't feel good about spending $9 on tape, which I totally get, you can just go like up and down with your, like your masking tape on your jeans and be like, I just need some lint all over this tape. Or you can just hit what's coming out of your dryer. Just saying. And I have a bunch of that actually stored. This is Cero paper. I'm going to put it the dark side down. And I will be taping this as well because I don't want it to move. All right, so I've got to make sure everything is sort of double taped. I'm going to take one off my pants. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Yep, that's coming off my pants there. I'm going to tape this down. I might have to tuck it around the back so it doesn't move. You can kind of see the lint. And I have to be like, am I happy with that placement? And you know what, guys? I kind of want to move my cupcake over just a little bit. And that's why you look at the placement. I bet somebody's about to ask, is it cheating to trace? I'm going to just...
Is it? That's a very interesting question.
Right, I get asked that a lot. Is it cheating to trace? And here's what I'll say. I think drawing is really cool. It is a wonderful skill that you can have in your art practice. Just making sure he stays level, because if he got like that, that would be crazy, right? I want him to be level to the thing. But I just need him over a little bit so that there's some room in the side. Just, he's off center, but not centered. Not too far. Not extremely. Now back with my paper. So here, listen, this is a skill you actually have to learn in art school because some of the materials in painting can be really cost prohibitive. It can be really expensive. And if you have dropped a ton of money on something, you may not want to sketch and see how it works out, right? You might want to work out a lot of your sketch ahead of time. Tracing allows you to do a design on paper, explore it, several times, see how you like it, transfer it to your more expensive media, like your Arches watercolor paper, and not have like mistakes ruin your bank account. I'm going to just press down with my pencil and trace over every line. If you think about it, Michelangelo had to use cartoons, right? They called them cartoons at the time to get his images and works up on the wall. And they would take the drawings and they would have little holes in them and they would pounce them with chalk. And then the dots were there so people could put them into the fresco because you can't change your mind on fresco. Fresco's a very committed medium, right? Mm-hmm. One and done. Like acrylic is not a committed medium. You can keep having fun. You can gesso over it. You can paint over it. You can change your mind tons and tons and tons of times, right? But, on a fresco, So this is just an accepted way that artists can get their ideas down. And while you're learning to draw, it's a great way to have fun learning all these painting techniques, and you don't got to feel bad about it.
Well, everybody here seems to agree that tracing is not cheating. It's a very useful tool for getting these things on the canvas.
It really is. There's nothing wrong with it.
Suzanne says that tracing is drawing practice.
Tracing is drawing practice. It really is. It teaches you a lot about how things are constructed. And it is, I think rubbings are interesting. Any kind of image, any sort of transfer of image from one object to another. We have a really cool thing in Houston called the Steamroller Block. It's like a steamroller print show, and these steamrollers make block prints, which is kind of, that's a copy. It's a transfer, and so they carve the block print into the steamroller, and the steamroller puts it out on these big pieces of paper. So it's actually a whole fun art practice in and of itself. I'm tracing my fudge.
Hmm.
Now, I didn't put all the little sprinkles in. I did not put in all the sprinkles because those just go in nice and last, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted us to get our shiny fudge on.
Ah.
So that's why that was that way. I think I have everything. If you're, you can always check. You can always lift your paper and make sure that you've got it. That's why I like to tape down a couple places just to make sure my whole image that I need is transferred. And it did. I like the yellow Cereal paper because it doesn't really bleed through and it shows up on pretty much everything but a yellow background.
Huh.
So it's pretty useful. White's also really good. But the yellow works on a white canvas, whereas the white would not. So there we go. We have this right in here. Now we have a really fun thing. So we've got this all kind of drawn in or traced in or however you got it on canvas. One cool thing that we can do is start to put in a shadow underneath our cupcake because we have the color out. I'm going to get a number 4 bright. This is a Cambridge, so this is bristles and a synthetic filament. I'm going to drag off the extra water. I'm going to get just a little of my turquoise that I have here and come under my cupcake a bit with this. Look at this. And a little bit under my cherries. Really even up into here because that's all in shadow. Before I get everything painted in, and that's going to give me, so I can get that shadow right up underneath the cherries, can't I? Let's carry just a little bit of this out here. That way we really, really have that. The shadow is going to be a really important part of the canvas, so much so, let's get it right on out of the way and know that we all have a shadow. See how this is like so transparent, it blends out really well?
Mm-hmm.
And to sometimes make a lighter, like where I kind of ombreing here, I'm just pressing lighter on my brush. So now I've already got the shadow done. Wow, that's much less worry, isn't it? You're like, okay.
Yeah.
That's new. I'm going to put out some more paint.
What kind of paint you putting out?
I'm going to put out some cadmium red medium.
Oh, that's a bright color.
It's one of my favorite colors. It's a very bright color. You can save some money if you buy it when it says hue. Sometimes you'll see, one place you'll see it say cadmium free, and it will not save you money. In that case, I would switch over to the golden that says hue because it's less money and it is as well matched. I'm putting out some alizarin crimson.
Gotcha.
I'm going to do a crazy thing here because I really want a good chocolatey chocolate sauce. So I'm going to mix 2 browns. I'm going to take my burnt umber and my burnt sienna, and I'm going to have a little black, and that's going to get me the most chocolatey chocolate sauce ever. Which I'm pretty excited about.
Everybody is saying how nummy this looks. This has been
so nummy.
This has been a very delicious looking painting series you've done.
It's super delicious. It's so delicious. I'm going to also put out a little black and some purple. The rest of the colors I'll put out when I do the sprinkles because they were for the sprinkles so we could have bright colors. Like you sometimes need. Mm-hmm. I'm going to bring the purple down here. And I may need a little more white placed out for my highlights as I'm going. There it is. Keeping track of all my paint. I'll just plop it over here where it's accessible to everything. Take my brush out of water because I don't want it to die an early and unfortunate death. I'm going to mix a little of my burnt umber and my burnt sienna together. And it gives you the nicest chocolate color. And that still leaves room for kind of a little bit of a highlight. And if you smidge in over here, see how I'm doing? A little bit of the black, even a little bit of a shadow. So that's a lot of shape into your chocolatey sauce that you need. If you ever need to clean off your palette knife, you just wipe it down. You can try plenty, plenty, plenty because there's a lot of chocolate sauce and I don't want to be stingy with it. All right. Now I have a choice here on my frosting on what I want to do as my base.
Yeah.
Do I want to do a little brown and kind of like tone it off white, or do I want to do blue? And I think in this case, I'm going to take my chocolate sauce color, just get a little bit of it. And that's almost still too much. But that'll be my base for my frosting. I want an off-white. There we go. Putting out the paint and pre-mixing, getting ready to like power through this painting. One of the nice things about putting out a little more white, because I know I'll need it. Everybody won't need it, so. Okay, so now that I've got that ready to go, I'm kind of ready to start power painting this all together.
Power painting?
Power painting. So I'm going to take a number 8 cat's tongue. You could use a number 8 bright. You could use a number 8 filbert. This is just one that I have in my brush line. And I'm going to take off the extra water. I'm going to get a little of the cream color that I made into my white over here, so it's still a little brighter, but not white. See? And I'm going to start to paint in my ice cream. The other thing that's nice about that color is that it's going to make a really nice color on the cherries and other things that where you don't want like a white. And I'm just painting in where the ice cream is. Not ice cream, it's frosting. I miss desserts.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if you overpaint right now your frosting, it won't matter because we're going to come back with all that ooey gooey chocolate sauce. Right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
Yummy,
that.
yummy in your tummy. I might paint down a little bit further so that when I put my little cupcake wrapper up there, I can go over my frosting. And you can see it feels really white on the canvas, but this gives you room to add a white highlight to make shape, which you're going to need. All right. You're going to need some shapes. Come right here, add some of this. I'm painting out a little bit of my stem because it's easy for me to put this back in. If it's not easy for you to put it back in, then just be very careful around your tracing. You can also reline up your tracing element anytime you need it pretty easily. I'm going to sort of wipe this off. I'm going to get the darker color that I have. I might even darken it a little bit. And right here, I know I need to create a little shadow. Right? Because there's a little shadow that's happening where the cupcake, see there?
Mm-hmm.
Has that. So we're going to just make sure we've got a little shadow.
Everyone thinks this looks like an ice cream cupcake.
It's just fantastic.
It is very delicious to think about eating.
This wonderful ice cream cupcake. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of this at the base here to sort of round it. Now, take off the extra and I can get back into my lighter color again to blend it. See how I'm blending?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I can put the highlight on there, and it'll really feel round, because it's going to be important that it really feels round. There we go. Blendy, 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 blend. Just having some nice blendy, blendy blends. And let this dry a little bit before I put the next layer on, because I'm going to have to put a little crease shadow in there and some highlights, and all of a sudden it's going to be like, bam! I got shape. Soft blend here. But I did it too soon. It wasn't fully bound. Sometimes when you're painting, if the paint isn't fully dry, and you come back and you paint too soon, you can lift it up. It's called underbinding. And there's a lot of ways it can happen. Let's get some of our little beautiful red color on here. You guys ready for the red color?
Yeah.
And we're going to mix our alizarin with our cad red like this. It's pretty dark. right? But we're actually going to grab a little of our diox. Isn't that fun? That's our deep shadow. And so when you're putting your wrapper up, now I'm going to come here like this. I'm going to come and this is how I'm going to get my wrapper kind of little edge going. Just using the tip of my brush. See how it sort of does the little wrinkle effect?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm leaving that to be obvious so that my wrapper feels like it's crinkly. I want you to know that it can be real stressful when you're painting, especially if you're new. And I know this painting will get a lot of new artists coming in. Because in acrylic, there's this thing we call an underpainting. And it's pretty cool. But it has a rough stage where things look kind of jacked up. And you got to love your painting through this stage. And I really want you to look at my brush strokes when we're close up on it. So when you're looking at yours going, oh, it doesn't look right, maybe it looks better than you're thinking. Because when you back away from your painting, when you take a minute and you back away and you look at it, you may actually see that it's doing pretty well. And come along here. So I've got the shadow underneath already, don't I?
Yeah.
So sometimes something like this can be hard to paint, not because it's particularly hard, but because the way we layer these objects can make it feel challenging. And here we go. It's painting in pretty well. I've got this base red. It needs to dry though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Needs to. I'm going to come up and drop a cherry on top. So many cherries.
They're so nice.
So nice. So we're just using our dark color still. I put my brush in water to thin it out so it flows off there nicely. I'm going to just start this first base. This is going to be so red, it's going to be like dancing off the canvas.
It's going to be kapow red.
Kapow red. And you're like, how does kapow red begin with this weird purple color? Wait.
Now, what brush are you using there?
This is a number 8's cat's tongue. It has, it's a little bit like a filbert, but it's got a point at the edge of it. And it kind of lets me do some more detail work when I need to and not change out brushes as much.
Okay, so do you need that to get this effect?
No. No, it's awesome and I love it, but no, you don't.
Okay. So
you just need the brush that you feel comfortable getting the angles and lines with. As long as you're in a good space. I've seen people work corners with brights. I've seen people do them all with rounds. I've seen it be all filberts. This is not in any way like one stroke painting where you have to have the tool to get the effect.
Cool. So just if you've got a brush that's your favorite, you could be using it.
Use your favorite brush.
All right.
Don't go out and just buy stuff to do this painting. Like, use what you got. Have a good time. If you see my stuff and you were curious, that's cool. I made this much darker into the purple up on the stem. And now I'm going to give myself a little edge here. My stems are like they're a little bit bigger at the end, right? You pick the cherry.
Now, you're using glazing medium, right?
I have it here, glazing medium. I always keep some around. It allows me to glaze, but it also helps me with the drying time of my paint. So I always keep it just in case, because if I notice my paint's just drying on me really fast, I start to use this.
Now, what's the difference between it and, say, a retarder?
Well, a retarder you can't glaze with. You can use only a very specific amount, and I've seen retarder taught really, really wrong out there. It's a fantastic product. I love it. I have 30 tubes in my art cart. But if you overuse the retarder, your paint can't set and it can't dry. So it will slow down the drying time of your paint and what that sometimes call open the time of your paint.
Interesting. So that's good to know.
It's just good to know because it seems like it should be cool, but then it's not. And you're like, wait, what? I'm going to make this a little darker purple for these little cherries here so that they can kind of show in front of the wrapper. And I'm not going to do the stems until later.
Now, It's a really dark color. It's almost the same as that cupcake.
But
So
not.
dark.
It's slightly darker than my cupcake, right?
Yeah.
Than the wrapper, and
Yeah, it
that's
is.
partially so I can have a shadow, and partially so I can see it, so I can see that they're two different things.
Yeah, now that shadow will really pop more for its color once it's layered on.
When it's layered with the CAD and the alizarin, it is going to be vibrant.
Yeah. I've noticed that you really have to build those layers up.
You do.
That's a
This painting is based on an underpainting.
that's an interesting thought.
Right? So we're putting in our colors, we're mapping in our deep values. Sometimes people map in their lightest values. There really isn't a wrong or right way of doing it. It's just about how you layer up your paint. To me, my mind, this is the easier way to go, so it's what I go with. I'm going to get some chocolate sauce in.
Yeah. I say double yeah to that. So I guess now this is one of the cool side effects is we get to learn how to make chocolate sauce.
Got to make some chocolate sauce. Otherwise, what's going on here? So let's get our mid chocolate, right?
Okay.
That we mixed up. And that had a little bit of black in it. It had both the burnt sienna, burnt umber, and a little bit of the black, right?
Yeah.
You see that right there. It's very chocolatey. And I'm going to come along here. And at first, this is going to be a very dark piece, right? Because everything on it's a little bit dark. Now I can layer this over my cherry. See how I'm seeding the cherry and the chocolate sauce?
Just a bit here.
Yeah. I can't wait till the new high dynamic range cameras because they'll be like, it'll look like different colors. And then you'll be like, oh, the subtlety. I'm just giving myself a nice round there. Come down here.
You would like to hear something funny?
Always I want to hear something funny.
So Darla just got busted at work watching.
Oh, Darla, I'm so sorry.
And now her boss watches too.
Well, hi, boss. You're very cool. If it's any help, like sometimes corporations have me come out and talk and do like team building. So you could say this is team building and like write it up like that, maybe.
Yeah, this is going to be write it off as team building. You guys are team
Creative
building.
employees that think outside of the box tend to be more solution oriented, more optimistic, and able and resilient to handle the day-to-day challenges of the workplace.
See, you heard it. You heard it from the Sherpa. You can talk to your IT department, have them remove the block on the Art Sherpa, because what we do is help build corporation.
We do.
Bonding.
We do.
Yep.
Somebody go tell Apple I can fix it. I know it's bad without Steve, but I can help and get him innovative again. Please don't get me. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm so sorry. You should never start it with people so much smarter than yourself.
We talk a lot on this show too, by the way.
Sorry. I'm switching to a smaller brush. This is, again, you don't have to have a cat's tongue. This is just a number 4 cat's tongue.
You just have one.
I have one and I like it. You don't have to have it. You could do this all in crayons. I'm just improving the flow of my paint here with a little water and loading up. I just need to make sure that I got drippy drips.
Now, is it possible to paint this like without doing the underpainting?
I imagine, sure. There is not one way to paint with acrylics. They mimic almost every medium.
Oh,
They can paint like watercolors. With the right transformative additive, you could do pastels and acrylics together. It's crazy. You can dry brush them. You can do so much. I'm gonna make sure this is a nice little drip, right? That's a nice drip. Bring it over here. We need another little drip. And he comes over. He kind of layers over into the red cupcake part. Gotta have that drip. This drip kind of comes above the crease of the frosting where it came out. If you're a baking shop, again, I feel like this is just good design work, right? Just in case you have to paint any details out on a cake. Don't know. But I do always feel like I'm what's missing on Cupcake Wars. Anything with like sugar craft, I'm like, I can carve that pumpkin to look like anything. I'll be on your team. Call me up. Actually, I have no idea what it's like to be under so much pressure to create the way that they make those contestants create.
Yeah, I'm very happy with our low pace studio.
Our low pace studio. Well, it's starting to take shape, and the elements of it that were maybe visually confusing are starting to dissipate. I'm still in my middle range of chocolate. My middle chocolate. I want a nice, the trick you're going to have if you're painting inexpensive or student paints, you're going to need a couple coats. Nothing's wrong with you. It's just there's not a lot of pigment in those paints. That's how they get the price down. And some other scary reasons. So, just know it's not you. Notice I kind of curved this in here and then wrapped it over like a waterfall. Because it is. It's a waterfall of chocolate.
It is.
Is this also how you paint in a waterfall? If you just needed to know how that line went.
This reminds me of a waterfall of love, that chocolate coming off. It's
Waterfall of love.
It's like, that's what, this is the incarnation of love being poured on a cupcake.
Back when we could eat these things, huh, babe?
Hmm?
Back when we could eat this stuff.
Yeah. Well, this is, I can imagine this one. This one's better because I actually can, this is so much more potential.
So much more potential. Oh, I love you. I know it's hard. If you have any sort of, my husband has Crohn's, or if you have any kind of digestive issues, the hardest part of it is no more this.
Well,
or the family eating pizza. Oh my gosh.
You don't miss it there's at some point you cross a threshold where it's just, you don't miss it.
So I'm just making sure I have very chocolatey thick coating, right? Because I want it to feel very thick and rich and chocolatey and I'm rinsing out. Just because I want to get a very light amount of paint on the tip of my brush. Because I need to create, I'm going to use the, just a smidge. See how I'm pulling it out and kind of wiping it off so it's just a smidge. I'm going to use a smidge in my chocolate color to create this little crease shadow. See?
Yeah.
There we go. Need just a little bit, right? That's cool. So now that I have my frosting crease, I'm looking. Now you can see it fold. See? It folded. I rinsed out my brush really well and I'm going to get my white. If you're painting a poodle, seafoam, unicorns, really white fluffy clouds, it's really about there being a shadow white tone that's kind of like some sort of off-white, and you're toning it with like blue or purple or brown or some other colors so that when you come back with the white, it pops. Let's put that pop right there, a little bit there. Oh, we should definitely have some of that. And then there should be some right here. Can you guys see the pop?
Mm-hmm.
Now my frosting, if I look, should have a lot of shape. So much fun. Let's get this wrapper in.
Wrap it up.
Wrap up my wrapper. Parappa the rapper is back.
That was an awesome game.
No, that was a throwback. I'm going to get a little alizarin into my cadmium, which is skinning. Hopefully I might have to get into glaze because you can see it was curing. I don't want just pure cad, right? I want it toned a little bit with alizarin, but I want it pretty bright. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to pull down this outer edge. I'm going to give myself just a little bit of this highlight. See how we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Implying some wrapper vibe. Let's give this wrapper some vibe. I'm coming right here and I'm just brush up into this very, very lightly so it just feels super, super red, because it is. And then I'm going to, as I'm coming back on this, I'm getting more into my alizarin as I'm coming back into this wrapper, because it's getting darker and darker as it goes to the back, and that's kind of how we're getting some of the shape. Getting a little bit of purple back into the mix. Not a lot, not as much as before. Because we're making the back end a little bit darker. You know you can go right over the cherries if you need to pull your lines. Look at that. How's our wrapper? Getting red, isn't it?
It is.
getting red.
Those colors are starting to come together.
Its colors are starting to come together. Now we're going to let this dry a little minute because we have a little red highlight and some stems we need to put on. So while we're thinking about that, let's take a little of my alizarin and my cad red. I'm going to make the darker color where the cad red, there's more alizarin than there is cad. And I'm going to come right here, leaving just this soft little bit of that deep color.
Oh my gosh, I was totally in the wrong area.
Were you?
Yeah, I was in the wrong screen there. So sorry.
It's okay.
There you go. Try that again.
We're just leaving just a little bit of that shadow peeking out on this cherry. See how soft? I'm just brushing softly. I'm going to get just a smidge. I'm going to come up the stem. If you need to, I have to thin mine with some water, so I'm going to actually mist some on here. So I'm having a little trouble. There we go. Improve the flow. The red must flow. Oh, that sounded wrong. I was trying to make a dune thing, but I think I went the wrong direction. And I'm going to make a bright red, still leaving the purple. See how we're doing? On the stem. Getting a little stronger right here to the outer left. Look at that go. Ah, it's looking so good. It's looking so good.
It is looking good.
Now I'm going to take this again down here to these little fellows. Start to pop them up. And it's going to let me know if I need to darken my wrapper, which I do. We're just brushing this really softly.
Those colors, man, those are just coming out.
Now, go ahead and get back into your purple. Very carefully, you're going to need to darken. It's going to be really important, really, really purple. But the red's in it, so it's going to be okay. You're going to just come around here and just make sure that we've got a little bit of this darkness around here. You can even bring that and blend that. So I'm pulling it up like it's part of the crinkle of the wrapper. But that's going to give me my little value while still keeping my wrapper feeling red. So, cherry's bright, wrapper's dark, starting to take some different space, even though it's red on red, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
His little friend, he needs to be brightened up too. Come here and brighten up this second little cherry. Him a chipper little fellow. Still letting some of that purple show through. I might even get a little bit of it and make sure that the bottom of my cherry is just a little bit darker. See what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Blending in there. Cherry a little weight. For sure, there's going to be this glaze that I do under here at the very least. So for those of you that have the glaze, that will be very, very cool. I'm going to take a little bit of this up here, this purple that I have. Make sure I've got a little bit of that kind of coming on that side. Just a hair, just a hint. Rinsey, rinse, 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 rinse. Now at this point, my chocolate's getting drier and the outside of my cupcake's drier. I'm going to come to the outside of my cupcake with some pure cad red. And just add a little bit of that brighter color. See how I'm doing?
Oh my, that's so bright.
It's so bright.
That's George Takei, oh my.
That's, oh my. I do a really good George Takei. Tell him. I think it's so cool. And I thought so before he became the king of awesome on the internet. I mean, lifelong. All right, this chocolate needs some thoughtlets, right? So we have to give it some shape because it's melting down. So take that black into your chocolate mix that you've got and make a nice dark, deep shadow. And you're going to come on the back side of this and here in the crease. We're blending that little curve in. Because we have to make these things look wet. That's a challenge, isn't it? Making things look like they're wet or shiny. So I'm just making sure that I've got a little more black into that. Coming off this back end. So it's still brown, but it's just very dark.
Mm-hmm.
If you're having problems with flow, dip in water. Make sure you've got nice flow off your brush. Right, and then come right here, the darker color. Just making this very rich. Here we go, a little bit of darker color. Got my black going into my brown. I know that I've got to make sure that some of this pulling over here. So here's we're making the nice shadows into our chocolate. Now there's another little crease here, isn't there? We're going to shade that in. And a little bit as it comes around. There's a shadow on this back side of this chocolate drip.
The chocolate shadow.
The chocolate shadow.
That's where the dark chocolate lives.
Oh.
It's creeping in
I
there.
was going to make a comic joke, but I am resisting with all of my strength. And I'm going to make a nice little shadow on the back of this drip. So now at this point, the coverage should be pretty deep, right? My chocolate sauce should at least feel rich in covering, right?
Yes.
I'm going to rinse out.
You're saucy.
I'm saucy. And I'm going to add a little of my base chocolate syrup mix to my pure burnt sienna. And I'm going to come here. And on the outside, so I'm just taking the kind of pure burnt sienna. I'm pulling it through my chocolate sauce. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
I don't know if the camera be picking it up. And like right here, I can grab a little bit and I'm making sort of this little reflection space. We're going to come with some like highlight reflections. It's really going to help us. But now you can see why I didn't want to just hit it with just the burnt sienna. Maybe a little bit back here because it's, you know, it's chocolatey. You got to see the chocolate part. What if everyone from Hershey's is like using me, you know, for a corporate building?
Mm-hmm.
Got to make sure.
Yeah.
That would be so funny.
We will come help you build corporately together. Make everyone be happy and painty.
Yeah. Why should just Google get to enjoy the benefits of playing Quidditch with their employees, right?
Yeah.
Any business.
That's cool. Wait, they get to play Quidditch?
Size. Huh?
I didn't know they played Quidditch. I might go work for Google.
What?
I said, I didn't know they played Quidditch. I might go work for Google.
Oh, dude, if you had half that idea what was over there, you would completely leave me, kiss the kids goodbye, and you would be working for Google. So now I picked all my highlight spots. So I have a little highlight of brown right here. I have some highlight of brown right here at the front of my chocolate, heavier right here as I'm going through. See how that's all going? Right? It's looking pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we have more to do.
There's so more.
So much more. So I'm going to take my alizarin and my purple because I've got to do stems now, right? And I'm going to make this stem coming over and the other stem going forward. So here's this stem that's coming over. because our stems are crossed, not our beams.
Don't cross the stems.
Don't cross the stems. Don't cross the stems, man.
That's Egon bad.
It's Egon bad. I'm the Egon in our family.
Does that make me the
Where I
Venkman?
understate that everything's about to go really, really wrong.
Does that
And
make
then
me
everyone's
the
like, I
Venkman?
didn't understand it was that big of an idea. And I'm like, well, if I said it, I meant it. Make a nice big little stem here, right? Give it a nice big end. At the tip of my brush. Well, that looks pretty good. And I like to play with my little purple and shadow. So now that's going really well there. And what I've got to do is pull those cherries into a much brighter space moving forward. I may have to put out some more cad red because I let my cad red dry out, which is a very unfortunate mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But it happens.
That paint dries.
Paint dries.
That's what it does.
It does. It really does. So I have this beautiful, beautiful cherry base. And I'm going to take my cad red that is not dried out, that's so bright. I'm going to come right here to the front of my cherry.
I thought you were going to go into the other ones first. Hold on.
Sorry. I did not give you a good clue. One of the challenges that John has, see, I'm coming at the bottom. I'm leaving my dark shadow right here because, I want my cherry to have shape. But to get these guys red, I'm going to need the pigment of all pigments.
Hold on.
There we go. Look at that. Now my cherries are very red.
There they go.
Aren't they red? This cherry's maybe a little more red this direction. This little friend's making a shadow on him. Oh, look at our little cherries. I love painting cherries.
I
love painting cherries. My favorite thing was this, before there were memes. Some of you won't know that there was a time before there were memes.
A time before memes.
In a time before memes.
That could be a Disney movie.
It could be. Oh, look at those pop. In the time before memes, there used to be this poster. There used to be all these posters like hang in there or...
What's a poster?
Stop it. You're so funny. I'm going to bring some of this red up my stem.
But you
Leaving the purple, right? A skip because I know I got that. And I'm going to make sure I shade the top of that stem. The same here, but now I'm going to catch the other side. And it is going to pop as soon as I get the reflections in. And add that little... There we go. Look at that. So now we have these stems. We can see them, and they're red. And now we have this chocolate sauce. And now what we're missing from everything is the yummy, yummy, yummy reflections and then sprinkles, and we're good.
Wow.
Now, while we're here and we're letting some things dry, if you've got glazing medium, you can do this. Or if you have a really transparent red, cool thing that you can do. I'm going to go into that mid-tone color I was using on my cherries, and I'm going to get a glaze. So this isn't about it being slow this time. This is about it being transparent, right? And I'm going to come under here. And I'm going to glaze their shadow just a little bit red.
Oh.
Just a little bit that they're casting down. And I'm going to come even right and get right into my black. This is one of the few places, but I haven't rinsed it off. And I'm going to make sure that right underneath them is pretty dark. See how we're doing? Deepening that shadow. I'm going to get some more of this, since we're waiting anyways. I'm going to make sure that underneath my chocolate sauce is pretty dark. See? Just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little touch of something, but it can be a big deal. Just making sure. Now we have these wonderful kind of Hershey's reflections. Right? So you've got your mid-tone color. And we had the ice cream, so we're going to add a little bit of that here. See how we're doing?
Yeah.
Lightening it up. You're going to come here, the top of it, and you're going to, see I'm wiggling my little brush out, and you're going to come across. Another little high shine area. This works, this is similar to what you got to do for chrome on cars and bikes too. Not a dissimilar thought process. Let's give a nice little warm highlight here. And some here. And then you've got one coming right here, coming down. And a bit there, and a bit there. Yep. Little one off the back end. Some off the front. There we go, another little one here. So this isn't your bright highlight, it is the beginning of your highlights, and it's gonna make the bright ones really work. You gotta have this to get to the bright, shiny one.
Right.
There we go. Now we're going to see if we can pull something similar off. So if we have the purple and the alizarin right here and we get a little bit of white into it, can you see that? We're going to say, so this is an interesting thing if you're not familiar with outdoor painting, but in natural light, everything has a warm and a cool shadow. But in artificial light, when you do it inside of a set area, it has a cool shadow or warm shadow, depending on the hue you're lighting and all of that. So it's nice to make sure you have both in your paintings, no matter where you source them for, so they feel a little more real.
Interesting.
So I'm going to put the beginning of this like right here. I'm going to lighten it up just a smidge. I'm softly adding that.
Ooh.
Now, this one I thought was really cool because it kind of looked like a heart, and I'm going to keep that. Hide that in there. I know we're well past Valentine's Day, but it's so nice. I'm going to come down and add a little bit of this right here. So it's not a high white, is it? And then another, and then another. And then this little right here. Maybe a couple right there. And then off this back side, bit of something, right? Bit of something. I'm missing one. Oh, there's one right here. We've got a little bit of this on the stem. So I'm going to come just a little bit of that right here before the bump, and then some on the bump, because these are shiny. Shiny. Shiny is important. I'm going to come back up to the top, John. And a little bit here and there coming up this stem. Like you have. And you're like, but where's the sprinkles? Believe it or not, the sprinkles are the last fun thing we get to do. Because you got to get all the other little stuff in. Now, I'm going to get some just white. And I'm going to put a little bit of it right here between the cherry and the chocolate sauce. And hit a little bit of this right here in this part of the heart. Coming up the stem, dot, 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 dot. I love things that are easy to highlight. Add a little bit of these bright ones. It's got a pretty big one there, and then it dots out. A little bit at the top of that. How shiny is the chocolate sauce starting to look?
Super shiny.
Isn't it crazy? You can put a little bit where that little kind of crease is. That will happen. Don't need a lot of it. A little bit coming down here. Definitely want one right there. Highlight that. And then right at the bottom of that. Front. Let's get out another one, a little front there. Oh, our chocolate sauce is getting so shiny. And you'll notice I'm just trying to really randomize how it dashes out, because that's going to help me, you know, keep from having it. Oh,
Looks so good.
it looks just good enough to eat. And this is something John can eat. Right? He could have this right next to his desk.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make sure that there's a nice little bit on this one of the highlight, right? Because that's what you do. You add the bright highlight in there to help it pop. We're almost done, guys. Oh, I hope your cherries are just like, wow.
They look fantastic.
Now, you have to make the decision to sprinkle or not to sprinkle.
Oh.
Right? To sprinkle or not to sprinkle. But in the picture, I had sprinkles. I feel like I've guaranteed some sprinklage. So I'm going to include some different sprinkles around my cupcake because you would. First sprinkles I'm going to add are, of course, my white sprinkle. Well, you know what? I'm going to just do yellow. Because I feel like what will happen is that they will confuse the reflections visually in the painting. So I'm going to go for the other kind of sprinkles. So I've just loaded this up. And I'm going to place some yellow sprinkles. Little lines. You know, sprinkles are weird. They have like lots of little shapes and sizes. And the trick to getting a good sprinkle that's believable is, you know, remembering that they're not uniform. I don't want to put too much yellow out, but I want to have a nice amount of yellow because it's going to be instead of my white. That way my white reflections read as something really special in the painting. Does that make sense?
Very much so.
Making sure that these are super yellow. No confusion, right, guys?
No confusion.
No confusion of what is and is not sprinkle. All right. If I'm happy with that sprinkle, right, I could have a blue sprinkle. Now, I'm going to have a better chance with my blue sprinkle showing if I add a little white to it. And that's because the phthalo blue is such a dark color that sometimes for the blue to really show, it's got to be a little white. But I'm going to avoid putting it too close to the edge of my blue background because this is going to blend in. I'll probably just go ahead and I might be happier with my sprinkles than other people might be. All right, here we go. So there's some blue sprinkles. How do we like them? Oh my goodness, we love sprinkles. We love sprinkles.
I'm not sure if you're hearing that, but that's rolling thunder continuously over us.
I was wondering what it was. Did we lose power yet?
No,
Okay.
But I was out checking because I was like, is there like a series of aircraft flying over us? But no, it's just continuous rolling thunder.
I added white to my purple because, again, the docks is so dark. I'm just putting little sprinkles here and there. Where you might have them. You could add green. You can just keep sprinkling all the rainbow. You can sprinkle away. You can have none. You can have a bunch. I feel like I'm getting kind of busy with the sprinkles.
Busy with the sprinkles.
I'm not going to hit these sprinkles like I did on the donut because they're on such a dynamic surface with the chocolate sauce that, again, I don't want to confuse the eye. So that's, otherwise I've got to, like, if I'm going to make those highly detailed, then I got to go in and shade them and get my glasses on. And it's a whole crazy day for all of us. So you guys don't get to go home. I'm going to sign my name with this #1 round. I get right into my little white and yellow here.
Yep.
I'm going to come right under the cherry.
Into the little shadow and
Just kind of curve around the cherry. But not in a way that is really pulling the eye too much. So it's there, but it's not disruptive to the composition. Like if I had a big red signature right there, you'd see it just as much as you saw the cherries, right? So you have to decide, is that additive to the painting, or do you want people to be able to see your signature but mostly see the painting? It's really just up to you. So that's how we paint the delicious chocolatey cherry, triple cherry cupcake
That's pretty fantastic.
with fudgy sauce that's super reflective.
Oh my gosh, I want to say thank you. We've had such a wonderful time today, and it's all because we've had over 600 people here hanging out with us most of the show. So thank you guys. Cinnamon doesn't get to see the show, so I just want to let her know we love hanging out with you guys, and this has been lovely for both Cinnamon and I. So thank you very much.
Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other, and I want to see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye.